What if I told you Saddam Hussein once tried to build a weapon of mass destruction using PlayStation 2 consoles? Or that Michael Jackson secretly composed the music for a Sonic game, and no one admitted it for decades? Well, if the real world is full of bizarre secrets, gaming is even worse. Here are 10 gaming conspiracy theories that might be true. Saddam Hussein's PlayStation 2 WMD conspiracy. We're kicking things off with a doozy. The former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein allegedly buying thousands of PlayStation 2 consoles to build a weapon of mass destruction. Sounds like the setup to a bad sci-fi movie, right? In late 2000, news outlets like WorldNet Daily ran stories claiming Saddam had imported 4,000 PS2s for their powerful 128-bit CPUs. The theory went that by wiring these consoles together, Iraq could create a supercomputer to guide missiles or control UAV drones. In reality, experts quickly noted this was pretty far-fetched. Iraq lacked the software know-how to pull it off. Still, the panic was real enough that Sony reportedly halted PS2 shipments to Iraq and its neighbors for a time. The image of Saddam building a PlayStation-powered doomsday device was certainly sensational, too crazy even for a Michael Bay film. In the end, this conspiracy turned out to be nothing more than early 2000s techno-paranoia. But for a brief moment, people really wondered if the world's most coveted gaming console was being weaponized by a rogue state. Talk about an epic final boss. Polybius, the mind control arcade game. Imagine a video game so dangerous that playing it could give you nightmares, seizures, even drive you to the brink of insanity, and mysterious men in black swoop in to collect the data. That's the legend of Polybius, an arcade game that supposedly appeared in Portland, Oregon in 1981 and then vanished without a trace. According to the conspiracy, Polybius was part of a secret government experiment in mind control. Locals whispered that the game's flashing visuals induced psychoactive effects, intense hallucinations, amnesia, even suicidal tendencies. Some players allegedly fell ill, and one even had a seizure, prompting the arcade cabinet's sudden removal by sinister agents. No hard evidence of Polybius has ever surfaced. No ROM, no cabinets, only anecdotes. It's likely an urban myth that spun out of arcade-era paranoia, and possibly a mashup of real events like managers getting sick from Tempest's flashy graphics. Still, the story refuses to die. It's been referenced in The Simpsons and even inspired real indie games. Could the government have tested a weaponized video game on unsuspecting teens? Probably not, but the idea of an MK Ultra arcade machine is irresistible. And if you ever see a Polybius machine in the wild, maybe don't drop a quarter in, just in case. The Madden Curse. Injured by the cover. Sports games have their own superstition, the Madden Curse. For years, NFL fans noticed a spooky pattern. If a player landed on the cover of EA's Madden NFL game, his season would take a turn for the worse. Starting in the early 2000s, nearly every Madden cover star suffered a major injury or performance slump the following season. For example, 2004 cover athlete Michael Vick broke his leg shortly after the game's release, and 2012's cover star Peyton Hillis had a disastrous season. The list goes on, turning this into more than coincidence in many fans' eyes. Players themselves joke about not wanting the honor of gracing the Madden box art. Berserk's deadly high score. In the early 80s arcade scene, one game earned an especially creepy reputation: Berserk, a robot maze shooter. It's not the gameplay that's scary, it's the urban legend that Berserk can kill you. Eerie as it sounds, this theory sprang from two real incidents. In January 1981, a 19-year-old named Jeff Daly collapsed from a heart attack immediately after posting a high score on Berserk. The next year, 18-year-old Peter Burkowski played Berserk and likewise suffered a fatal heart attack moments after entering his initials on the high scoreboard. 2 arcade-related deaths in a row was enough to spark rumors of a cursed game. The kicker? Both players reportedly achieved the exact same score. 16,660 points. Notice the 666 in there? People sure did. Suddenly, the game's villain, an evil smiley face named Evil Otto, seemed a lot more sinister. Of course, skepticism is warranted. Both young men had underlying health issues, and it's, hopefully, coincidence that their last game was Berserk. But the matching Score of the Beast is one freaky detail that keeps this legend alive. Berserk holds the morbid honor of being the first video game linked to player deaths, and it remains arcade lore, proof that sometimes truth is stranger and scarier than fiction. Lavender Town Syndrome, the cursed Pokémon music. If you played Pokémon Red/Blue as a kid, you might remember the Lavender Town music, that haunting, droning tune in the game's graveyard town. According to one infamous conspiracy theory, this music did more than set an eerie mood. It allegedly caused illness and even suicides in children. Lavender Town Syndrome became a creepypasta legend, claiming that back in 1996, when Pokémon released in Japan, an unusual spike in child suicides and illnesses occurred, all traced to kids who had reached Lavender Town in the game. The high-pitched tones of the original Japanese Lavender Town theme were blamed for everything from headaches and nosebleeds to driving children to madness. Some tales cited over 100 or even 1,000 kids affected, though no evidence of this was ever documented. It sounds outlandish, but this theory spread like wildfire online, bolstered by the fact that a real Pokémon incident did send hundreds of kids to hospitals. The 1997 anime episode Electric Soldier Porygon, with its flashing lights, caused 700+ seizures. That much is true. As for Lavender Town's music, its composer Junichi Masuda did use unsettling chords and frequencies young ears might perceive differently. Nintendo even tweaked the tune for international releases. Coincidence? Almost certainly. But if you find the Lavender Town theme a bit uncomfortable, well, you're not alone. This conspiracy turned a simple Game Boy tune into the stuff of nightmares. Satanic messages in Nintendo's WarioWare. One urban legend that never dies is the old backmasked song with secret satanic lyrics trope, and even Nintendo fell victim to it. The conspiracy in question centers on WarioWare Touched 2005 for the Nintendo DS, a quirky minigame collection. It features a catchy song called Ashley's Theme, sung by a young witch character, Ashley. Harmless, right? Well, some players discovered that if you play with the in-game record and speed it up, Ashley's gibberish lyrics start to sound like English. And what they heard gave them chills. I have granted kids to hell. Yes, really. The rumor spread that Nintendo had hidden a demonic message in the music, effectively promoting Satanism to kids. Religious groups were outraged, and Nintendo had to insist it was all a coincidence. Indeed, most instances of alleged backmasking, from Led Zeppelin to Pokémon's Poké-Rap, are just people's brains imposing meaning on garbled sounds. But here's the spooky part. If you do fast-forward Ashley's theme, it does eerily resemble that hellish phrase. Coupled with the fact that Ashley is a witch character who conjures demons in her song lyrics, conspiracy theorists had a field day. Nintendo denies any intentional hidden message, of course. Was it just an audio quirk? Probably. But next time you hum along to your favorite game soundtrack, you might wonder what secrets lie in the noise, waiting for some enterprising fan to play it backwards. Fallout 3 predicted the future. Can a video game broadcast secret messages predicting real-world events? Conspiracy theorists say Fallout 3 did just that. This theory claims that a hidden numbers station in the post-apocalyptic RPG actually foretold a major disaster. In Fallout 3, if you kill a certain NPC named Three Dog, the in-game radio DJ, and stand by a radio, You'll supposedly hear strange Morse code sequences instead of the usual music. One of these coded messages was translated to 945420210. Accident in the Gulf, several dead. Oil spill apparently averted. Eerily specific. And guess what happened on April 20th, 2010, 4/20/2010, at 9:45 p.m.? The Deepwater Horizon drilling rig exploded in the Gulf of Mexico, causing a massive oil spill. The in-game message appeared to predict this event nearly 2 years before it occurred. Spooky, right? Other claimed Fallout messages predicted the death of the Queen and even the date of Britney Spears' meltdown. Now, Bethesda, the game's developer, has stated there are no such hidden broadcasts, and most savvy players consider the Fallout Predicts the Future story to be a hoax or ARG that got out of hand. Indeed, no one has definitively reproduced these number stations in-game. But the Gulf oil spill coincidence is hard to ignore. Was it just a wild coincidence, clever modders, or something more? We'll likely chalk it up to coincidence, albeit a very uncanny one that keeps this conspiracy theory alive. Miyamoto versus Rare, sabotaging a rival? Not all gaming conspiracies are about paranormal happenings. Some delve into industry intrigue. One juicy theory alleges that Nintendo's legendary designer Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario and Zelda, deliberately sabotaged the company's former second-party partner, Rare, out of spite. Here's the background. In the 1990s, Rare, a UK developer, made hit games for Nintendo like Donkey Kong Country and GoldenEye 007. They were immensely successful, perhaps too successful for Miyamoto's liking, according to the theory. Miyamoto had famously downplayed Donkey Kong Country's focus on graphics over gameplay, once quipping, "Donkey Kong Country proves players will put up with mediocre gameplay as long as the art is good." Ouch. The conspiracy crowd points to this as evidence of bad blood. They claim Miyamoto resented Rare's flashy graphics, so he subtly undermined them. For example, he insisted Rare rework their Nintendo 64 game Dinosaur Planet into a Star Fox title mid-development, derailing years of work. That game, Star Fox Adventures, underperformed and marked Rare's final project with Nintendo. They were acquired by Microsoft in 2002. Did Miyamoto push them out on purpose? Rare fans note he also chose not to promote some Rare projects. However, the more likely reality is that business and creative differences drove the split, and Rare's sale was a corporate decision. Miyamoto is a competitive creator, sure, but actively torpedoing Rare would be cutting off Nintendo's nose to spite its face, considering how much money Rare's hits made. Still, when you break down their strained relationship, critical remarks, creative clashes, it's easy to imagine there was a shadowy feud behind the scenes. In the end, it's a conspiracy theory that reflects the very real drama of the game industry, where egos and agendas can definitely impact outcomes. The military's real-life video game plots. Ever get the feeling that some of those patriotic military shooters are a bit, well, propagandistic? You're not alone, and this conspiracy theory hits very close to truth. It posits that the US military and government actively fund or influence video games to groom the next generation of soldiers. Think of it as soft recruitment through your console. At first blush, it sounds like a stretch. Playing Call of Duty turning you into G.I. Joe? But consider this. The US Army literally created its own video game for recruitment, America's Army, and has been using it as a promotional tool at events for 2 decades. That much is openly acknowledged. So what about mainstream war games? The theory suggests franchises like Medal of Honor and Battlefield get tacit support or direction from military higher-ups to ensure they portray the armed forces in a positive light and get young players hyped to enlist. In fact, military consultants often advise on big-budget games and movies, sometimes to ensure authenticity, sometimes perhaps to shape narratives. The Simpsons even joked about subliminal recruitment via boy bands. Remember Ivan et Nioj? While there's no smoking gun that the Pentagon is secretly scripting game plots, the cultural link is real. When Call of Duty tournaments are sponsored by the US Army, it's not exactly subtle. So, unlike many conspiracies, this one has a kernel of truth. The military uses video games for outreach. Whether you see that as benign marketing or dystopian manipulation might depend on how many hours of Call of Duty you've logged. Michael Jackson composed Sonic 3's music. Closing out our list is a theory that moonwalks the line between music and gaming. Did Michael Jackson, the king of pop himself, secretly compose the soundtrack for Sonic the Hedgehog 3? For decades, whispers about this have intrigued fans, and there's actually a lot of evidence. Back in 1993, Sega did hire Michael Jackson to contribute music for Sonic 3. Jackson was a huge Sonic fan and was excited to work on the project. But Sonic 3 released in 1994 with no mention of MJ in the credits, and Sega officially denied his involvement. What happened? The conspiracy theory, and now semi-confirmed reality, is that Jackson did write several tracks for the game, but asked to remain uncredited or had his music dropped due to the child abuse allegations against him that emerged in 1993. Several tunes in Sonic 3 bear a striking resemblance to Jackson's style. Compare the Carnival Night Zone music to Jackson's Jam, or the ending theme to Stranger in Moscow. In 2016, Sonic 3's credited composer Brad Buxer, who was also MJ's music director, finally stated that Michael had worked on the soundtrack. Sega never officially commented further, but recently Sonic's creator Yuji Naka even tweeted confirming Jackson's involvement in a roundabout way. So here we have a conspiracy theory that might actually be true. Michael Jackson likely composed music for Sonic 3, but parted ways with Sega, leaving his contribution shrouded in mystery. Next time you hear those groovy Genesis tunes, listen closely. You might just hear a bit of the King of Pop's magic in them. Did any of these conspiracies convince you? Or do you have a favorite theory we didn't cover? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into gaming's strangest mysteries, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more intriguing content.